The sound of my mother smashing my National Science Award against the auditorium floor echoed through the stunned silence. Crystal shards scattered across the stage as my years of research, dedication, and breakthrough discoveries were reduced to broken pieces beneath the bright lights. "Your brother needs this more than you," she screamed, her face contorted with rage. "He's struggling while you're being selfish with your success." My name is Elizabeth Carter, and at 28, I just received the National Innovation Award in Biomedical Engineering for developing a groundbreaking cancer detection method. The ceremony at Princeton University should have been the proudest moment of my career. Instead, it became a viral sensation for all the wrong reasons. The auditorium had gone completely silent. Hundreds of distinguished scientists, university officials, and media representatives watched in horror as my mother continued her tirade. My father stood beside her, nodding in agreement while my younger brother James smirked from his seat in the front row. "Mom," I said calmly, my voice carrying through the microphone I still held, "this is neither the time nor place for this discussion. Don't you dare dismiss me." She grabbed the $100,000 check from the podium. "James needs this money for his startup. He has real potential, unlike your wasteful research." I noticed several phones recording the scene. The Dean of Medicine looked appalled while the selection committee whispered among themselves. But I refused to break down. 10 years of working in a male-dominated field had taught me to keep my composure under pressure. "Security," I called out, my voice steady. "Please escort my family out." As 2 guards approached, my father stepped forward. "You ungrateful brat. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done." I couldn't help but laugh. "You mean like using my college fund to pay for James's failed business ventures? Or perhaps you're referring to the time you sold my car to fund his revolutionary app that never launched." The guards reached the stage just as my mother tried to tear up the check. They carefully restrained her, but not before she could scream, "James deserves this. He's the one who should be successful." As they were led away, James stood up, pointing at me. "You've always been jealous of my potential. You just got lucky with your research." Lucky. That word echoed in my head as I watched them being escorted out. Lucky was not spending countless nights in the lab while working 3 jobs to fund my research. Lucky wasn't fighting for grants while my parents drained my savings to support James's schemes. The dean quickly took the stage, attempting to salvage the situation. But the damage was done, or so I thought. What I didn't realize was that this very public humiliation would become my unexpected vindication. Looking down at the shattered award, I felt a strange sense of peace. For years, I tried to earn my parents' approval, watching as they poured everything into James while treating my achievements as obligations. Every success of mine was expected to be shared with or given to my brother, who had never completed anything in his life. The ceremony ended awkwardly with apologetic looks and sympathetic pats on my shoulder. But as I gathered the pieces of my broken award, Dr. Sarah Williams, the head of our research department, approached me. "Elizabeth," she said, placing a hand on my shoulder, "I've just received 6 calls from private investors who were watching the ceremony's live stream. They're very interested in your research and very appalled by what they witnessed." I looked up, surprised. "Live stream?" She nodded, showing me her phone. The incident was already trending on social media. #Science Award drama was gaining traction, with clips of my mother's meltdown being shared rapidly. "Your composure under pressure impressed a lot of people," Dr. Williams continued, "and your research speaks for itself. Don't let this overshadow your achievement." As I drove home that evening, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications. The video had gone viral, with scientists, researchers, and public figures sharing it alongside messages of support and outrage. My story was resonating with people who'd faced similar family dynamics. But it was the email from the university president that made me pull over to the side of the road. "Dear Dr. Carter," it began, "in light of today's unfortunate events, I would like to meet with you first thing Monday morning. Your research and professionalism have caught the attention of several significant benefactors. Please ensure you're available at 9 a.m. I sat in my car, watching the sunset and thinking about the years of sacrifice that led to this moment. My parents had always seen me as the reliable one, the one who would eventually support James's dreams. They never expected me to have dreams of my own. The irony wasn't lost on me. Their very public attempt to diminish my success had only made it more visible. As my phone continued to buzz with support messages and media requests, I realized this wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning. Monday morning arrived with unexpected intensity. The university president's office was filled with more people than I'd anticipated. Representatives from major medical research foundations, 2 pharmaceutical companies' CEOs, and surprisingly, the governor's science advisor. Dr. Carter, President Anderson began, your research has always been impressive, but your grace under pressure has brought unprecedented attention to our institution. I sat quietly, still processing the surreal situation. The video of my mother destroying my award had reached over 10 million views. #StandWithDrCarter was trending, and women in STEM fields worldwide were sharing similar stories of family sabotage. We've received an interesting proposal, he continued, sliding a folder across his desk. The Matthews Foundation wants to establish a grant in your name, specifically for women in sciences facing family opposition. The initial funding is $5 million. My hands trembled as I opened the folder. The grant wasn't just money, it was validation of everything I fought for. Additionally, the pharmaceutical CEO interjected, we'd like to fast-track your cancer detection method. Full funding, state-of-the-art lab, your own research team. The offers kept coming. Book deals, speaking engagements, research opportunities. Everything my parents had dismissed as wasteful research was now being recognized globally. Then my phone buzzed. A text from James. Mom and Dad are furious. They're saying you've turned the family into a laughingstock. Fix this. I showed the message to Dr. Williams, who'd been quietly observing from the corner. Your brother contacted the university this morning, she said, her voice tight with controlled anger. He demanded we redirect your award money to his new business venture, claiming it was family understanding. He even threatened legal action. The room fell silent. President Anderson cleared his throat. We've also received concerning calls from your parents. They seem to believe they have some claim to your research funding. I felt a familiar weight settling in my stomach. For years, I'd watched my parents enable James's sense of entitlement. Every failure was someone else's fault. Every success of mine was somehow rightfully his. They have no legal claim, I said firmly. And James's threats are empty. Every bit of my research was self-funded after they emptied my college fund for his failed crypto platform. The governor's science advisor leaned forward. Dr. Carter, would you be willing to share your story? We're launching an initiative to support women in sciences, and your experience could inspire others. Before I could respond, my office phone rang. The secretary's voice was apologetic. Dr. Carter, your parents are in the lobby. They're demanding to see you, and they're causing quite a scene. President Anderson signaled to security through his intercom. Have them removed from campus. Dr. Carter is in a private meeting. But I stood up, straightening my lab coat. Now let them come up. It's time we settled this publicly, once and for all. The room tensed as footsteps approached. My mother burst in first, her face red with anger, followed by my father dragging a reluctant-looking James. You ungrateful. Mom stopped short, finally noticing the room full of distinguished guests. Mom, Dad, I said calmly, thank you for joining us. We were just discussing my research funding and the new grant program. Would you like to share your thoughts about women in science with our guests? My mother's face paled as she recognized the governor's science advisor. My father tugged at his collar, suddenly less confident. But James, oblivious as ever, stepped forward. This is a family matter. Lizzie's research was built on my ideas. I deserve. Your ideas? Dr. Williams interrupted, pulling out a file. Interesting, because we have all of Elizabeth's research documentation dating back 5 years. Please enlighten us about your contribution. James faltered, looking to our parents for support. But even they seemed to realize the gravity of the situation. Perhaps, President Anderson suggested, this would be a good time to discuss the legal implications of making false claims to intellectual property. My parents' faces shifted from anger to fear as they finally understood their usual tactics of emotional manipulation and threats wouldn't work here. Their daughter wasn't just a family resource to be exploited anymore. I was Dr. Elizabeth Carter, and my success was entirely my own. I think we're done here, I said, standing firmly. Security will show you out. And James, the next time you want to claim someone else's work, make sure there aren't a dozen witnesses and documentation proving otherwise. As security led them away, I could hear my mother's muffled sobs about ungrateful children and my father's attempts to salvage their dignity. But for the first time, their disappointment didn't touch me. The pharmaceutical CEO waited until they were gone before speaking. "Dr. Carter, I believe we were discussing your new research facility. Perhaps we should focus on the future rather than the past." I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. "Yes, let's talk about the future. I have some ideas about expanding the cancer detection research." The meeting continued late into the afternoon, but my family's interruption had only strengthened the resolve of everyone in the room. Sometimes I realized it takes a public breakdown to build something stronger. 3 months after the award ceremony incident, I stood in front of my new research facility, watching as the sign was installed. The Carter Institute for Innovative Medical Research. The irony wasn't lost on me. My brother's name was Carter too, but now it would be forever associated with scientific advancement rather than failed ventures. The transformation had been remarkable. My viral moment had evolved into something much more meaningful. Thousands of women in science had reached out, sharing their stories of family sabotage and sacrifice. The Matthews Foundation grant had already helped 20 brilliant researchers continue their work despite family opposition. As I gave a final approval for the sign placement, my phone buzzed with a news alert. My brother's latest business venture had publicly collapsed, taking my parents' retirement savings with it. They'd mortgaged their house to fund his revolutionary social media platform that turned out to be nothing more than elaborate slideware. "Dr. Carter," my assistant appeared at my side. "Your 2 p.m. is here, the high school students from the Women in Science program." I smiled, remembering why this day was particularly special. 30 young women from underprivileged backgrounds, all passionate about science, were getting their first look at real research facilities. As I walked to the conference room, I passed the display case containing my restored National Science Award. The university had insisted on replacing it, keeping the broken one in their museum as a symbol of resilience. The girls' eyes lit up as I entered. I recognized that look, the hunger for knowledge, the determination to succeed despite obstacles. One girl raised her hand immediately. "Dr. Carter, I saw the video of your award ceremony. My parents say science is a waste of time for girls too. How do you deal with that?" Before I could answer, the door opened. My mother stood there, looking smaller than I remembered. 3 months had aged her considerably. "Elizabeth," she said softly, "I need to talk to you." I turned to the students. "Watch this," I said, because sometimes the hardest experiments are the ones we conduct with our own lives. Facing my mother, I spoke clearly. "This is my workplace. You can't just show up unannounced." "James has ruined us," she blurted out. "The bank is foreclosing on the house. Your father, he's not well. We need help." The room was silent. 30 young women watched intently, witnessing a real-life lesson in boundaries and consequences. "Let me guess," I said, keeping my voice level. "You want me to use my research funds to bail out James again?" She flinched. "He had such good intentions." "No, Mom. His intentions were to get rich quickly without working for it. And you enabled him every step of the way." Tears formed in her eyes. "We're your family." "Yes, you are. And as family, you should have supported my dreams the way you supported his. Those young women behind you, they're the future I'm investing in, not James's schemes." "But where will we go?" I handed her a business card. "This is a financial advisor. He helps people rebuild after bankruptcy. That's my help, not money, but a chance to learn from mistakes. James needs to find a real job, and you and Dad need to stop treating him like a prodigy who can do no wrong." My mother stared at the card, then at the students, finally seeing what I'd built. "Your award. I'm sorry I broke it. I was so wrong." "Yes, you were. But that broken award launched something bigger than any of us. Now I have a class to teach. These girls deserve my full attention." After she left, one of the students spoke up. "That was amazing, Dr. Carter. You're so strong." I shook my head. Strength isn't about never needing help. It's about knowing when to give it and how to give it wisely. "Now, who wants to see our new electron microscope?" The rest of the afternoon was spent inspiring the next generation. I showed them the labs, the research, and most importantly, the possibilities. Several of them would later become part of our first scholarship program. That evening, as I wrapped up work, Dr. Williams stopped by my office. Heard about your mother's visit, she said. Also heard you're funding a financial literacy program at the community college. I nodded. Anonymous donation. Maybe James will take some classes. She smiled. You know, when they broke your award, we all thought it was a tragedy. Turns out it was just the catalyst needed to create something extraordinary. Looking out my office window at the setting sun, I couldn't help but agree. The broken award had sparked a movement, created opportunities for others, and finally freed me from the role of family ATM. My phone buzzed. Another text from James. They're making me get a real job. This is all your fault. I smiled, typing back, no, it's your success. Enjoy it. Turning back to Dr. Williams, I picked up the latest research proposal. Ready to change some more lives. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising so high that those who tried to break you become irrelevant to your story.